watching football, maybe some other things that we can talk about, maybe the KSI boxing event, different things like that. I think that could be pretty fun. So make sure you do like the video if you do like the video. Also, tomorrow, I will try to be doing a live stream. Those have also been going on for about once or twice a week now. Really have been having a lot of fun going live with you guys, so make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for the live stream. And also, comment down below maybe a topic you'd like to talk about, maybe just for maybe next time we do this, maybe a sport I should look into. Definitely let me know as well. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that is everything. So yeah, make sure you like the video, subscribe. Obviously, that's a good one to say. And let's get started. So here we are again with a 1 hour long video, and as for a lot of these videos, I kind of have to put a little alert. If you're trying to watch this video for some sort of entertainment, visually appealing, cool to watch video, probably not the video for you. This video is going to be very minimalistic when it comes to editing or pictures or highlights or anything like that. I really try to make these videos pretty easy to make, because obviously sitting here recording for over an hour and setting everything up and then editing the video and having it render and blah 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 blah, it takes a lot out of me, and it takes a lot of time to do all this stuff. So if you want to show some support, obviously liking the video is the best thing you can do. But again, I always try to very much make this as minimalistic as possible. Here we are, the NFL playoffs, which I think I did okay when guessing on my picks for the wild card weekend. I think that's what they're calling it officially. And man, was it an interesting first game. The first matchup was, I think it was the Chargers and the Jaguars. I think that was the first game. No, the first game I think was the Seahawks and the 49ers. I think it was. That game was, no offense, kind of boring. The 49ers ended up defeating the Seattle Seahawks 41-23. The 49ers scored the first 10 points in the first quarter and really never looked back. Now, the Seahawks did score 17 in the second quarter, and then it kind of depleted it throughout the rest of the game, and then 49ers put up almost 20 points in the fourth quarter, kind of sealed the deal for them. But very good showing out for the 49ers. It's looking like to be true that they are the team to maybe be to be reckoned with in the NFC side of the bracket, which is looking pretty good for them. I'm really happy to see how Geno Smith ended sort of stint with the Seattle Seahawks, and it could be the end of it because he's a free agent. And he had a press conference talking about how he wants to stay in Seattle and be the guy for them. Money talks, my boy. Money talks. And I'm sure there's going to be some teams out there that are going to be looking at how well he did in Seattle this year. Probably going to offer him a starting role on a handful of teams. I can maybe think of like 3 or 4 teams right now that probably really would like a Geno Smith on their starting quarterback role. But I don't know. He says he really likes it there in Seattle because they gave him that opportunity. But we'll have to see. And even then with Seattle having a, I think, top 5 pick. I think they have pick 5 right now, technically. But that could be their next future star quarterback, or obviously they can build around this sort of new defense that they are sort of starting up there in Seattle. It's looking pretty good. This is at least the ending of this year, and or even obviously protecting Geno Smith, adding some more linemen, which is probably a very good thing to do. So Seattle has a lot of options, which is pretty exciting to do. Next game that went on was the Chargers and the Jaguars. That was also on Saturday, and that one made me a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna do some keyboard typing sounds, keyboard tapping, because you can call it any way you want it. Because if you guys didn't know, they were kind of the team I was rooting for this year, since the Rams sucked a lot this year, and they blew a pretty significant lead. The Chargers were up 17-0 in the first quarter, and then put up another 10 points. In the first quarter, and then put up another 10 points in the second quarter, having 27 points at halftime to 7 to Jacksonville, and literally only scored one field goal the rest of the game. 0 points in the fourth. Oh, my heart. I watched a vast majority of the first quarter, and I already thought the game was over, so I didn't really tune into it that much. Saw the halftime score and didn't look at it again until I went on Bleacher Report. That night, Jacksonville ends up winning, which, quite honestly, I did say in my predictions video that this was a toss-up game, and it ended up literally being a toss-up game by 1 point, which is pretty insane. I think Jacksonville ended up winning by a field goal as well, which is pretty a good telltale of a coin toss game, so I did call it that way. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence had a really good game. Justin Herbert had a mid-game. The Chargers defense was insane this game, and I really thought the team that had the best defense this game would win, but it ended up being a good combination of what Jacksonville was doing, just being the better all-around team that game, and Justin Herbert just kind of falling short, which is going to happen, and obviously trying to look at this situation with a silver lining. It's, good character building to have these sort of high expectations, especially for this Chargers team, who, at least for some people, were maybe the favorite in this matchup, and ended up coming short. I think it's definitely going to give him a little chip on his shoulder and really help him improve, not only as a character-wise, as himself-wise, but as a quarterback, as a professional, skill-wise, really can help push him. So I think it's also a pretty good thing. And now Jacksonville has to face the Kansas City Chiefs. So good luck with that. I hope they do well. That would be a crazy upset. Then we had the Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. And yes, the Bills did in fact beat the Dolphins. Who would have thought? But definitely a lot more interesting of a game than I would have thought. They beat the Dolphins 34-31. Yeah, pretty close game, I know. And obviously, the biggest headline, even after this game, wasn't even the fact that the Bills won. It was the fact that if the Dolphins had Tua, or maybe just a better quarterback, they probably would have beaten the Bills, which is interesting. Again, Miami has sort of been such an up and down team this entire year that, at one point in time they were probably, favorites to definitely make the playoffs, maybe even a sneaky Super Bowl team to pick, but definitely saw in this game that this team is actually legit, and next season they will be back for sure. The Bills came out with a fast start, scoring 14 points in the first quarter. Dolphins returned fire with 17 in the second quarter, which is pretty crazy. And on they scored against each other, and yeah, the Dolphins did score in the fourth quarter. They scored a touchdown. Just needed a little bit more to win this game. And again, let me actually check their who is this guy's first name? Checking the quarterback. Skylar Thompson. Shout out Skylar Thompson. Was 18 for 45, 220 yards, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, a QB rating of a 44. So again, if you even would have had a average quarterback playing for this team, or if Tua was healthy, definitely could argue that Miami would have beaten Buffalo, which would have been, even on its own, in my opinion, pretty big upset. So the Bills are looking a bit shaky. Maybe this is the worst they're going to play. Hopefully, if you're a Bills fan, I bet you're hoping for that, because obviously your next matchup is going to be very hard. Let's see. So that was the Bills game. And then I think the I said, that is the upset game. If there was a upset game to pick, that was the game, and it was, because the Giants beat the Vikings 31-24. Wow. This was actually a very consistent game from the Vikings, scoring in every single quarter a touchdown in 3 of the 4 quarters, which is not bad. But the Giants had a pretty fast start, scoring 14 points, 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and that honestly pretty much won them the game. Game would have been a lot closer if that didn't happen, but man, not bad. And who else wasn't that bad was the quarterback for the New York Giants. Daniel Jones was 24 for 35, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a QB rating of a 114. Pretty insane. Now, Kirk Cousins actually did have a pretty good game. 31 for 39, 273 yards, QB rating of 112. So this game was really close, and it obviously came down to 1 touchdown, and definitely could have gone either way, but the defense of the Giants, definitely on their last stretch, was pretty locked down in the fourth quarter and looked really good, and pretty much sealed the game away there, which was pretty nice. So shout out to all the Giants fans out there who are saying, you know, they had it, and they did have it, and I did say that was definitely the upset game that I was looking for, and it ended up happening. I didn't pick it, but I said that was one to pick. It would be. Then we had the Ravens and the Bengals. The Bengals ended up beating the Ravens 24-17. A pretty good showing out for everyone there. Even I don't know if it was the backup quarterback or the third string quarterback for the Ravens, but he had a QB rating of 92 and threw for 226 yards. So that was actually a pretty good showing out for them. And then Joe Burrow, 209 yards, 100, pretty much almost 100 QB rating, but only had 1 touchdown that game. So a little slow start for both the Bills and the Bengals, but they ended up facing off each other in the next round, which hopefully both teams play better. I'm assuming both the teams definitely probably overlooked their own competition a little bit, looking a little bit too forward, and you know, they definitely want this. Both teams definitely want this match, because whoever's winning this matchup is facing, maybe, I'll knock on wood, not trying to jinx them, but probably facing the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC title game, which, man, is going to be a crazy game. It's going to be a great game. Both the games are going to be great, so I'm very excited to watch that. Or maybe Jacksonville wins, and, you know, we have another underdog team to root for, which I think will be pretty sick. But today, as you're watching this video, the Cowboys and the Buccaneers would have played, and God, I wish I could go forward in time and look at who won that game. Obviously, you do. Right now, a handful of hours before the game has started, the money line for this game is 50-50, dead center even. Will Dallas win by 3 or more points is the spread, and that is also almost 50-50. So, man, a lot of people are also very indecisive on who to bet for and this and that. It's going to be a very close game. I think right now Dallas is actually a little bit the favorite for this game, which I think is pretty interesting. I think, yeah, this game's actually going to be in Tampa, even though, again, the Dallas Cowboys have the better record, but it doesn't matter because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won their division. Yeah, I think they should get rid of that rule. I know the NBA used to have that same rule, and they changed it the year the Portland Trailblazers had a not-so-great record, but won the division and got home court advantage. I think they should change that also in football. That shouldn't be a thing. I guess I can't talk about it, but I'm very excited to see. So, let's see. For the divisionals, we have the Jaguars against the Chiefs on Saturday, the Giants against the Eagles on Saturday as well. Both of those games on Saturday. Bro, that Giants-Eagles game, man, that's, I know some Eagle fans probably aren't going to be too happy about me saying this, but that's going to be a close one. That's going to be very interesting, and I think this first game is going to be a very good telltale on where you could really see this Eagles team go if they really struggle and like barely squeak by the Giants, which again, the Giants are a good team. I'm not saying they aren't, but if they do, you know, I think they're going to be very beatable now. If they just completely destroy the Giants, then that's also a very good telltale of where this Eagles team is and their headspace and who they think they really are. Then we have the Bengals and the Bills on Sunday, and I'm assuming the winners of the Bucks and Cowboys and who else are we missing? Oh yeah, the 49ers, that's right. Ooh man, that's going to be a good matchup if the Cowboys and the 49ers, or even the Bucks and the 49ers. I think the Cowboys and 49ers would be kind of interesting because those are two extremely popular teams with humongous fan bases. Like, that's going to be a good, maybe like a little rivalry sort of game. That would be a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, next weekend is going to be pretty sick when it comes to some NFL football. Let's talk some soccer or football for a lot of people out there. Now, for everyone asking, have been watching football highlights. Obviously, me being in the US, it's extremely hard for me to watch these games that go on and start at like 9 or 10 a.m., which obviously I could, but like, you know, I got like normal life stuff to do. I can't just like sit for 2 hours in the morning for those type of games. Now, obviously, yesterday they had a bunch of Premier League games. Actually, they actually had Arsenal going up against Tottenham, which ended up being a pretty good game. Arsenal ended up winning 2-0, which is pretty nice. They played at Arsenal, which I actually don't even know where Arsenal even plays at. Again, that's still like super not much into the world of football yet, but we had a score in the 14th minute and another score in this 36th minute, so a very high-paced game in the first half. In the second half, a lot of substitutions, nothing really happened, and sort of ended the game with 94 minutes, which definitely isn't that bad. We had Chelsea beating Crystal Palace 1-0, not bad, and Newcastle ended up beating Fulham 1-0 as well. Yeah, Arsenal has been having a really good season this year. They are first place in the Premier League standings. They have 15 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. That's pretty freaking insane if you ask me. Scoring a total points of 47. Wow. That's pretty crazy. Second place we have Man City, 12 wins. Newcastle's in third, which they're never really a team, at least over here in America, you ever really hear about ever. I do know about them because, again, my very low FIFA, the video game IQ, I know Newcastle having 10 wins, 8 draws, and 1 loss. They either have really good defense or probably not the best offense, but really good defense. If they have 8 draws, they are tied for the most in Premier League play, which it keeps them in third place, so it's definitely not bad. And in fourth place, you have Man United without obviously Ronaldo being there, 12 wins, not bad. Fifth place, you have Tottenham, which if you guys did miss out me, talking about the my steps moving forward when talking football, they were one of the teams that was picked for me, like generated by a computer when I was looking for teams to start looking out for. Tottenham was one of them. They are one of the teams I have been following a little bit more of, having also 10 wins on the year, but 6 losses, which is pretty bad. Then you have Fulham at 6, Brighton at 7, 8 is Brentford, and 9th we have Liverpool, which is again probably one of the more popular teams in the Premier League play right now, which 8 wins, 4 draws, 6 losses, very mid, not the best. Then you have Chelsea at 10, also one of the more popular teams out there. You have, I think it's Aston Villa, or they just have it Villa on there, but I think it's Aston relegation territory. Dun dun dun. Very scary, which kind of sucks because I know West Ham was actually doing pretty well in the Premier League, but it looks like they might not make it for that much longer, which is obviously pretty sad. Obviously, if you are someone who's super informative on what's going on with any of these teams, I would love to know down in the comments why some teams are doing good, why some teams are doing bad. If you have any information, definitely let me know down in the comments. I need to soak it all up in like a sponge. I need to know what's going on with these teams. And last place is Southampton, which is a team I do know. It's a team that the name pops in my head, pops in my head. But they're last with 4 wins and 12 losses. That's pretty rough, not gonna lie. But yeah, just a little heads up. No one asked, but I really like the Wolves logo. I think I like that sort of like straight edge, like almost digital-esque type of wolf logo. I think it looks pretty dope. Then you also have this other bracket, like these older standings. When you look at the Bleacher Report app, the Europa League standings, which I'm not even entirely sure what this is. For the Europa League, Arsenal is in first here with 5 wins and one loss there, and these are teams I have never even heard of, seen before, ever in my life, like PSV. You have the Dynamo. That's a dope name, but there's like Group A, B, C, and D. Let me know down in the comments as well, like what these standings are. I'm assuming these are just their matchups, and when they do face each other, their matchups against one another. But these are some very interesting names and looking teams. Now they have playoffs, so I'm assuming this is just like the Europa League Cup, and maybe like when they have their cup play, this is like, you know, the standings they go off of, which I'm assuming that's what it is. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But the Premier League is really the only league I've really been trying to like look at and sort of see like what's been going on with them. What about Major League Soccer? I don't think those are even going on anymore, right? Oh yeah, their games don't start up till February. Which a little bit of an announcement. Yes, I will in fact at some point in time be doing a Portland Timbers ASMR in public video of the arena. I will be doing that sometime very soon, as soon as I can. I'll see when the league starts up. It looks like the league starts up February 25th, which is pretty soon. It's like over a month away, but not too bad. I'm definitely gonna try to go out to a Timbers game. Not too sure how good they are going to be this year. Again, I do know that they did just recently win a MLS title, which I think is super dope. I think they actually have two or three of them right now, which again is pretty dope. And I know Portland is actually a pretty big hub, at least in the U.S. when it comes to football, soccer fans. That's also something I think is really cool. Even their women's team is really good as well. I think they're called the Thorns, I think. But yeah, I think that's going to be a cool video. Definitely something that's going to be very hard to film and try to make ASMR, because I know those games do get kind of loud, kind of crazy, but I'll try my best to sort of capture that, but also capture the sort of calmness and like the chillness of how soccer games can be. At least obviously, you know, all games can't be, you know, World Cup, everyone on their feet cheering for, you know, 2 hours straight. It's not always like that. But yeah, I'm really excited to see sort of what's going on there. Anything else I can sort of see here? Let's see. Another thing I really wanted to talk about with you guys is just more or less of a heads up on, like, you know, when like tournaments are going on. I know a lot of people keep talking about, oh, when you're going to talk about more football, soccer, when you're going to talk more football. And I just don't know, or make a video specifically on it. I just don't know when these like big time playoffs or cup matches, cup tournaments are going to be. So that's why I really need you guys who are very much into that world, help me out a little bit. Let me know when these tournaments do start to happen, because when they do, I will 1000% do my research and talk about it and do, you know, videos specifically on them, just like I did for the World Cup. But I'm not gonna, make a matchup video on, some football matchups randomly, like I do sometimes for football or for NBA. Just because I don't know how popular that's really going to be, but I'm gonna try my best. Try my best at least. So, and I want you guys to try your best at least to help me out and let me know when these things are going on. For La Liga standings, we have Barcelona in first, followed by Real Madrid, which was the other team that got randomly, I guess not even randomly, I guess chosen for me during that video when I was trying to find a team to start rooting for. Real Madrid, second place, 12 points, 2 losses and 2 draws. Then a lot of teams I've never heard of before, quite honestly. Those are, for La Liga, those are the only 2 teams I do know, and that's probably the only 2 teams I do need to know about, especially when it comes to this, this league, I think that's how you would say it, but pretty cool, not gonna lie, pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for some of the soccer talk. I think now we're gonna go a little bit into the NBA, and then maybe just sort of ramble on about some of those things going on. I know someone in one of my comments was talking about wanting me to talk like racing and stuff like that, like NASCAR or F1 or anything like that, but that is also like very, very even more niche of a sport that I'm not very into. My uncle is extremely into NASCAR. At least he was at one point in time. He had like a whole little like trophy case full of like those little toy car, Hot Wheels, box cars, whatever you call them. He was very much into NASCAR, and he's also really into golf, which, I mean, my extent on golf is Tiger Woods is the GOAT. Watch a lot of Tiger Woods highlights, and then I love mini golfing, and then I also have been recently getting into Top Golf, which, if you know what Top Golf is literally just like a place where you go hit like drivers basically for how many hours as you want. I think you just pay by the hour, and it's kind of like bowling. It's pretty much bowling, but you're golfing. It's kind of nice. They have like target scores. It's a pretty dope place to go to if you're a fan of golf. I don't know if they have those like all over the world, but they do have a lot of locations in the US, but pretty fun thing. But yeah, maybe I'll talk some like the KSI boxing event or something like that. Let's get into some NBA now, which is something I haven't talked a whole lot about recently. It's been a while since I've really been able to just talk basketball with you guys, which I know it was kind of a staple in my channel for, quite some time, which I do sort of miss, but I also love how different and unique and, more me my channel is now. When back, 2-3 years ago, every single day I would just make another just random NBA talking topic video, which for some people they really liked, and it obviously, brought me to where I am, so I'm not like mad or sad about it, but definitely glad I don't have to just sit here and talk basketball every single day. Anyways, let's get to the standings. For the Eastern Conference, we're going to start with the East first. We have the Celtics. Yes, the Celtics. Still in first place with a record of 32-12. 6-game winning streak. Oh my goodness. Man, the Celtics. I don't know, man. I think they are probably still the best team in basketball. Obviously, they have the best record in the NBA, which is a good telltale of that, but that team is deep. That team has star power. The coaching on that team definitely does go up and down, but definitely has seemed to be pretty strong, obviously, without their, actual head coach being there. Obviously with the return of Robert Williams III, really hunkering down that defensive sort of center position, and yeah, Tatum is still an MVP candidate, and he probably will be still there as long as they're sitting at number 1. Then 4 games back, which is actually a pretty good, also a little telltale of how good they're being. They're 4 games ahead, second place, which in the Western Conference, there's only a half game difference between 1 and 2. But at the second spot, you have the Brooklyn Nets, which someone obviously this is kind of old news, but yes, I did finally watch the highlights for Donovan Mitchell's 74-point game against the Chicago Bulls the other night, it's like 2 weeks ago. I finally watched that the other day, and wow, just a super fiery start from Donovan Mitchell, and that's kind of how the game went, which I think is really dope. And man, I love that Cleveland Cavaliers team. I don't want to say they're the team I'm like rooting for in the East, but they're definitely a team I really like to watch a lot. They're definitely one of my most like fun teams to watch in the NBA. They have probably the best backcourt duo in the NBA now, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. They have a great interior defense with Mobley and Jared Allen, and it's crazy because, excuse me, that team is, if they want to, can stay together for the next 7-8 years and be, dominant like that. Now, obviously, it's probably not going to happen because that never happens in the NBA. Someone always, wants a bigger role or wants a bigger payday, and I doubt they're going to keep all 4 of those guys, but they have 4 All-Stars on that team, and it's pretty interesting to see sort of what else is going to happen with them in the future, and I really hope they do all stay together, and if they do, it's destined for a title at one point in time. I think if this team sticks together, it's almost guaranteeing a title because of just how good they all are. The 6th place spot, we have the New York Knicks. Yes, we have the Knicks at 6, which is another sort of team I get asked a lot about nowadays in my live streams and whatnot, which, by the way, if you forgot, if you're still watching this video, I will be going live tomorrow, and it will probably be around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or LA time, Portland time, LA time, West Coast time. That helps you out a little bit more. And yeah, I always get asked that a lot, and I've always said the Knicks are such a up and down, wishy-washy team that has a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows, and I think they are playing very good basketball right now, obviously being in the 6th spot right now in the East, which is a very competitive conference in today's day and age. And I think they always, have a spite in interest of me, obviously having Randall and RJ and Jalen Brunson this year, who is definitely doing a lot better of a impact than I thought. He's definitely not just, padding his stats as a starter in the NBA. He's definitely really making good use of sort of his time and his efforts in winning games for the Knicks. And, do I think it's the right move for the Knicks? Maybe. It's tough because obviously you want to show that this team can win. So that one NBA free agent who's teeter-tottering on the thought of, the Knicks look kind of good and I would love to play in New York. Maybe I should give this team a shot. You obviously need to go to a good team in order to have that, so as long as the Knicks stay good, it increases their chances of getting good players in free agency, but, it's kind of hard. I'm trying to even think, this next off season, there aren't a lot of great free agency, participants, I think. I'm trying to think, I think, like, Kyrie Irving is, but if he has to, like, decline a player option, same thing with James Harden, he has to decline a player option. I think this year is a lot of, like, team option, rookie contract, player option guys, which are very tricky to go through in the NBA. But next season, I think is definitely the year that you're gonna see teams like the Knicks, the Dallas Mavericks, maybe Portland. We'll have to see how well their contract situation ends up after the next couple of seasons, but there's gonna be teams that are going to be swinging for the fences, trying to get, either, for the Knicks' sake, a guy who can lead them, or for the Mavericks' sake, a guy who can be that 2 option, that Robin to the Batman of Luka Doncic, and that's definitely a better class. I think like Pascal Siakam, Paul George, is a free agent, and those are going to be some really good names to see where they end up if they don't obviously do the boring thing and re-sign, which I'm just kidding about that, but yeah, the Knicks are doing good. That's sort of the whole spiel of that. 7, we have the Miami Heat, which are doing the Heat thing that I thought they were going to do this year. They're, teetering on, a play-in team barely, a playoff team barely, or a play-in team. And I kind of thought they'd be around this 7 to 10 range, and they're ended up being that. There's sort of that like whispering of like, ooh, are they going to be a player in like a big time trade for a star? And I hope not. If anything, I hope they just do a rebuild. I hope they just would just trade Jimmy Butler away and then just keep Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo and just rebuild for like another year or two and just sort of like retool around this sort of younger core. Even though Jimmy Butler's a god at basketball, he is so criminally underrated, and definitely in the playoffs, that man is a marine. He is a god at carrying this team in playoff moments. So we'll have to see what they do with that team at the end of this year. See if they blow it up or do something different. Pacers are in 8th, which they are on a 3-game losing streak, and at one point in time, I think they were high as 4th in the East, which I don't know if I should say this or not, if there's any Pacer fans watching, but I do not think they are doing the right thing. That team is trying, at least in my eyes, to speed up the rebuilding process, which is the worst thing you can possibly do. Ask the San Antonio Spurs and DeJounte Murray. You get to a point where you are stuck in purgatory and you just, you can't lose games, but you don't want to win too many games. But even if you want to start winning games, you can't win games, at least the important games. And I don't know, they're going to be stuck. And no offense to any Indiana Pacers fans out there, but a lot of people I know and I saw on like Bleacher Report and Twitter were really hoping to get Victor Wembanyama on this team, which I think would have been sick next to Tyrese Halliburton. But I don't know. I love Tyrese. I really love Benedict Mathurin. Of course, not only him being an Arizona Wildcat college basketball player, but his mindset and his ability as a rookie already is insane. I mean, obviously, besides Paolo Banchero, he's probably my pick for Rookie of the Year just because of how he's been doing there in Indiana. But that's really all they have. They have a bunch of veterans and a couple other young-ish guys on that team. I think that team definitely should have tanked this season. Maybe had a group meeting and said, hey guys, let's start losing now, please, because this team desperately still needs more core pieces than just what they have right now. 9th, we have the Atlanta Hawks at 9, which are again a team that are just so up and down, and can't go toe to toe with the best of the best. They can't beat a Bucks team on an off night or go have a fun game with the Celtics. But this team drops games that they should not be dropping. I know Trae Young was also hurt a little bit throughout the season, but they're also a team that, even though they just made a trade to get DeJounte Murray, I think they need to make another trade. And obviously, John Collins' name is sort of the big buzz when it comes to trade talk, and especially around this team. And I think it would be worth it now. Do you trade him for another forward or just some improvement for the bench? I don't know, but dang, that's a big contract to match up with, and hopefully they find a piece for him, because I don't think John Collins is really sort of worth the money that they paid him, and obviously not really turning out to be the guy that, one of the best power forwards in the NBA. Like, at least we all thought. He's a good one. He's a starter for sure, but I don't think he's really worth all that money that they're paying him. 10th are the Chicago Bulls, who have been having a kind of a struggling year, but they're not doing too terribly bad for themselves. Kind of mid, but they should blow it up. In my opinion, yes, the Bulls should trade Zach LaVine. They should probably trade DeMar DeRozan and just have a couple of crappy seasons and hope to build the draft, because, man, I mean, Lauri Markkanen was a good pick. Obviously, the some fireworks that go on, during this time period. So, because also they have, Pascal Siakam, who is an older player, and some other older guys on that team that don't really mix well with sort of the younger-ish core that they have. And, Scotty Barnes could be very good trade bait if you want to go big and try to go for like another win now move like they did when they traded DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard. A disgruntled star somewhere could be wanting out, I don't know, and could find his way to Toronto. Maybe. We'll have to see. I lost my page here. 12th is Detroit, 13th is the Magic, which, man, watching the Magic play live was so much fun. That was a very good game that I watched them play, and man, Paolo Banchero is crazy legit. He reminds me a lot of like a rookie, even though he wasn't really a rookie. Reminds me a lot of rookie Blake Griffin, just how, mature and comfortable and a grown man like he was in his rookie year. And this dude is so ready to not only take another step, definitely in the next couple years, but like this guy's gonna be the man for the Orlando Magic. I think this guy could potentially be the best player on a title-winning team one day. And I really do hope he stays in Orlando. Orlando is one of the teams I randomly like and root for, mostly because they're sponsored by Disney, which, if you guys didn't know, this is not a Laker jersey. This is a Mickey Mouse Disneyland Laker replica jersey, but shout out to Paolo Banchero. Detroit is 14th, another team that's going to be very much in that sort of trade whispering. And dead last, we have the Charlotte Hornets, which is a franchise that I also get kind of asked a lot about, and is a franchise that should definitely be imploded. That team should get rid of the GM, maybe even the owner and Michael Jordan. That team needs to be gutted from the inside out, because that team does have some talent, but that team also isn't very well ran, at least in my own opinion. Wow, I talked a lot about the East. I'm super sorry. We're gonna move on to the West now. Kind of rambled on a lot. Again, I don't really get to talk a lot of NBA basketball with you guys anymore, so I kind of want to stuff it in this video. First place, Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic. And another question I always get asked a lot: who is the MVP for this year? Jake Baller. And man, I kind of hate to say it, Jokic right now has the ability to be the first player since Larry Legend in the 1980s to win back-to-back MVPs. Not LeBron, not Prime Shaq, not Kobe, not Steph, not Kevin Durant. Nikola Jokic will be the first to do it. That is so mind-boggling to me. It doesn't sound right, but it's very possible. We're gonna have to see what happens, but I like the Nuggets. They're definitely a team that can come out of the West, can win it all when they're fully healthy, and obviously when Michael Porter Jr. can play right, and obviously having Jamal Murray back a little bit more, pep to his step. I think he definitely, him talking about Nikola Jokic has the help now, and I mean, do I dare say they get the job done? I don't know, but they are almost a destined team for the Western Conference Finals for sure. Second place, you have the Memphis Grizzlies, who are only, again, a half game back from number one on a nine-game winning streak. Man, what is with this Memphis Grizzlies team? Like, this team is so deep. They have a star power with Jaren Jackson Jr. is Defensive Player of the Year candidate. That is a crazy trio. That's actually probably the best trio in the NBA. Zion, B.I., and CJ. I think it is. I don't know. We have the Kings in fourth, the light, the beam Kings, who are only about a game and a half out of third place, which is just terrifying to think about. This is definitely a team that, if you are a low-seeded team, if you are a Golden State Warrior franchise, if you are, an LA Clipper team, no offense to the Kings, but you definitely want this matchup because this team is definitely playing more or less on a high note. They're definitely playing their best basketball right now, and this is a team that could end up being like a third or a fourth seed and then just get swept and mopped by another sort of, more veteran-led team. But hey, I think they have what it takes to make it the playoffs. Obviously, seeing them now and just the energy and effort they play. Shout out to their new coach, Coach Brown, who, man, has always been a pretty good coach wherever he's been. Really changing the sort of outlook on this team. In fifth, we have the Dallas Mavericks, who have been having some up and downs. Obviously Luka Doncic has been playing a lot of minutes and is now starting to miss some games now, which is, a little telltale of what the end of the season could end up being. Kind of what happens when a guy has to sort of carry a lot of the weight and the load of this team and, having to put up 60-point triple-doubles in order to beat, a mid-tier team, or a 50-point triple-double in order to beat the Houston Rockets. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to be doing that to be beating these sort of teams, but he has to do it. Sixth, we have the LA Clippers, and like I said, actually no, the Dallas Mavericks will be going up against the Kings, but a team like the Clippers going against the Kings could be a very favorable matchup for the LA Clippers, but still a season very much Kawhi and Paul George-less. Even when they do play, they don't really seem like the dominant duo like we saw back in 2020, 2021. And if I can be completely honest, I don't think we ever are. I think we might have already seen the peak of this team, which is super crazy. We're never gonna get the LeBron Kawhi playoff crazy matchup that should have happened in 2020 in the bubble, but yeah, I don't know. I think this team is obviously still very capable of even winning the entire the entire championship, because they're that good and they have that potential. But man, we just need to see it actually happen. At 7, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have definitely been looking a little bit more like themselves. Still having some up and downs, but definitely have been evening out a little bit more. We have the Golden State Warriors at 8. Now that Steph Curry's back, the team is definitely thankful of that, and hopefully can get a little bit more of a groove before sort of having to have a sort of grind to get back up there in place a little bit more in the playoff hunt. Then in 9th spot, we have the Portland Trailblazers, who have been playing some god-awful, garbage, trash basketball the past handful of weeks. Yes, Portland at one point in time was a top 4 seeded team. Now they're battling to make it into the play-in. Injuries, if you haven't really been following, Portland has been the reason why they are missing, well, at least at the recording of this video, actually 3 of their best defenders, which is basically their only defenders, and Justice Winslow, Nazir Little, and Gary Payton II. All 3 of those guys at one point in time were all out. Portland had 0 defense, 0 bench play, and not even Damian Lillard putting up 40 points was able to save this team. But Gary Payton is playing now, adding great perimeter defending to this team, which definitely needed a player like this on this team like 5 years ago. And shout out Neil O'Shea for that. And Nazir Little has also been coming back. He's a great wing defender for us, and definitely sort of a jack of all trades. He doesn't do anything really amazing, but he does a lot of things really good for us. And then if Justice Winslow can come back, this team is going to start looking a lot more well-rounded and maybe sneak their way back into like a Phoenix Suns. Yes, the Phoenix Suns. We haven't mentioned them at all. That team that was once, a couple weeks ago, the #1 team in the NBA's Western Conference. 11th. Scary. That team, we could have already seen the best of him. That team could be imploding sometime very soon. Chris Paul is definitely aging, and he has aged. He's not even aging, he aged. He already it's the past tense. It's not a very lucky season for them, especially when it comes to even Devin Booker's health. The Thunder are 12th, the Lakers are 13th, losing 3 games in a row, having a pretty fun game against the Mavericks a couple nights ago, going into overtime or double overtime. Pretty fun game, but health is just also not on their side. 14th, you have the San Antonio Spurs, definitely taking for Victor Wembanyama, and I'm really hoping they get him because I would love to see the info that once Tim Duncan, David Robinson, LaMarcus Aldridge, Paul Gasol sort of coached guy, and Greg Popovich can teach a guy like Victor Wembanyama. I think he has so much big man sort of help in his brain from all these sort of other greats that he has played for the San Antonio Spurs, who have all played the big man role. Man, that's going to be really cool to sort of see what Victor Wembanyama can do for a team that obviously great for development, and